can purchase your tunes?
Any digital distribution agency out there, pretty much, I'm covered with. iTunes, Napster Music, Amazon MP3s. You can go and find it. Just when you type in the name Royale, you have to type in the name of the album with it. You have to type in Reflections, because if you type in Royale, there's going to be hundreds of names that pop up. And if you type in Reflections by itself, there's going to be hundreds of songs, Reflections, and probably about 15 or 20 albums called Reflections. So type both in, Royale, Reflections, Royale and Reflections, and put them in parentheses or something like that, and usually I'll pop up.
All right. So what makes your rap different than some of the other gospel rap artists out there?
The only thing I can say is that I try to make my music as real as possible. I try to do every song that I do. As you listen to the things, you'll hear the emotion, the heart in the song. I don't just, a lot of gospel rappers I don't even listen to, because it sounds to me like they just open the Bible and make some Bible scriptures rhyme. And to me, that's not music. Music generally runs deep with people. Everybody have a song that they listen to, and it brings back an emotion or a memory or something like that. So I try to create emotional bookmarks for you as you listen to my music. So I try to do everything heartfelt, keep it real, real life experiences, how I'm feeling about something. Everybody that lives, they have several different sides to them. Nobody's always happy.
Okay.
So my CD, there's going to be a day when you're happy. There's going to be a day when you're sad. It's going to be a day when you're angry, a day when you're bitter, when you're heartbroken. I mean, all of those things make up the human persona, who we are.
Right.
So I try to capture that in everything that I do. Yes. My CD is very much so a mood.
Okay.
A mood album. It's it takes you, if you listen to it, it will take you on an emotional roller coaster.
Okay.
Hopefully you'll be mad when I'm mad, you'll be sad when I'm sad, you'll be happy when I'm happy. So I try to make sure I do those things, and I even try to, most of the time, record them when I'm in those moods. Because it usually comes across better that way. I've had several songs that I've written, and I was going through something in life, and I wrote it, and I had all this heartfelt emotion in the song and whatever, but I waited too long to record it. I waited 2 months, and now everything's good in my life, and I'm happy. I'm trying to record this song that I wrote when I was down in the dumps, and now it's like, that's a happy dude saying he's sad, saying he's sad. So usually I'll try to wait till the time comes back around in my life, because, like I say, it's changing. We're evolving. We're growing every day, and everybody's walk with God is different. So, some people struggle with different things, and they struggle at different times, and it's a cycle. And you're trying to make sure you don't make the same mistakes, but it doesn't mean you won't make another mistake that make you feel like you felt with the other things. So as I live, as I progress, I grow as an artist.
All right. So has your music been accepted, by the church, or?
Now they're coming around. Now a lot of people, when you first say rap, that's all they hear, and they picture whatever it is they picture in their mind about rap music. And until people sit down and listen to what you're saying, they'll probably take it the wrong way. My church has finally come around to the point now where they accept me for who I am, and I actually perform, several times throughout the year during main service. It used to be, when I first started performing in my church, it would only be on special occasions, like the Christmas dinner program, where they had like a talent show kind of thing.
Yes.
As my pastor's wife and pastor started listening to the songs that I was doing, they were like, you could do that in the main service, and they want to attract the younger, they want to reach out to the youth, and so now they know that rap music is,
that's the end thing for the youth.
Yeah, so they listen to it, and they allow me to be myself and express myself. And the trick has been with me, I usually have to do slower tempo songs so that the older people can listen. And
To make it a variety.
And make sure the words are flashing behind me on the screen.
Yeah.
So they can hear what you say. I don't understand what he said. What that boy say? And then you're saying something. And so, it was hard at first. You know, a lot of people, for instance, as I was telling you off air, one of my church members' son, he's a rapper, and he wanted to come to my studio to record. Well, you know, I told him to go ask his mom, and he's like, well, you ask her. So, you know, I walked over there with him, and I said, look, your son wants to come out to my studio and work on some music. And she lit me up from Abel to Zachariah, telling me why she don't want her son doing this old devil music and blah, 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 blah. And she had never heard any song that I'd done, never heard it, didn't know anything about me, really. But she had formed her mind on what rap was based on what she'd heard in the past. As I performed in church more, and she started listening to the words of my song, she kind of changed her tunes, and she listened to what's going on. And then I think really what kind of snapped her out of it was I did a song with her son in church. We performed a song together, and it was well received by everyone. And I think she kind of started looking at it a different light. She saw that, you know, whatever you do, if you do for the glory and the honor of God, it'll be accepted. You know, so it's rough. You know, it's hard. It was hard. My friends, they knew me from when I was doing secular music, and they always like, man, you're not going to do any of this. As soon as I started doing gospel music, I actually had a lot of doors start trying to open up for me in the secular realm. And it was just like, I made up. Temptation. Yeah, I made up my mind. And at that point, I was still a babe in Christ, and I think I understood that it was a temptation, and that it was God testing me because I told him I was going to do it for him. And at that point, I think he was trying to see. So I can't lie and say I don't think about it, you know. So, man, if I was still doing this, I could have been here, or I could have been there. But I think I'm right where God wants me to be.
All right, yes.
And for those of you out there listening, my music is really to touch someone. It's not about anything else. It's not about my ego. It's not about my glory. It's about using things that God has taught me or has spoken to me, and hopefully they can touch someone else. I don't care if I'm recording music in my garage for the next 50 years, and if only the little kid next door gets something that he can grab onto in his life and make himself better, then I'm happy with that. So
we'll close out our show with Royale as he sings from his album Reflections.
Open for me to come back home, but that was a decision I had to make on my own. You couldn't tell that kid nothing cause he thought he was grown, thought he could whoop this big bad world all on his own. He left the door open for me to come back home, but that was a decision I had to make on my own. You couldn't tell that kid nothing cause he thought he was grown, thought he could whoop this big bad world all on his own. Dear Lord, it's your son, the one time forgot. Tried to rock the top, missed a step, and then dropped. You could have caught me. Why you let me hit so hard? Like you let me get hit by Mike Tyson with no guard. Looking for a gut shot. I misread the swing and got jarred. Got up, staggered twice, then fell back to the floor. Up again, back for more. Lord, I had to be blind. You had to show me that a hard head makes a soft behind. I didn't see, didn't find, cause I really didn't try. Just laid on my back and had to look at the sky. Them tears well up in my eye. I get a lump in my throat. This own heart of mine shatters when I start to choke. I rebound while I'm down and I'm on the 6th count. I hear a whisper in my ear, but it's amazing how I get back to my feet again. Rep counts to 9, takes a breath, but never makes it to 10. He left the door open for me to come back home, but that was a decision I had to make on my own. You couldn't tell that kid nothing cause he thought he was grown, thought he could whoop this big bad world all on his own. He left the door open for me to come back home, but that was a decision I had to make on my own. You couldn't tell that kid nothing cause he thought he was grown, thought he could whoop this big bad world all on his own. home. Look, I know you never left me, but you let me walk away. I had something I needed to learn. You knew that that was the only way. I had to learn the hard way. I should have took the God way. It's like facing a bazooka and I came with sword play. It's spiritual foreplay, cause now my soul is aroused and I can see the silver lining in the darkest of clouds. My, how you humble the proud as a part of your plan. But I'm so glad you love your son and didn't destroy the man. You made me what I am, a true heir to the throne, a prodigal son of the king. When I returned back home, you took that pride inside me and showed me what it was worth. Not even the smallest molecule of 1 grain of dirt. Even though the flesh still hurts, I know my soul has been healed. And that's from the mouth of a brother who was as hard as steel. The part of me that ain't changed and still keeping it real. It's hard to put into words how this dude really feels. He left the door open for me to come back home, but that was a decision I had to make on my own. You couldn't tell that kid nothing cause he thought he was grown. Thought he could whoop this big bad world all on his own. He left the door open for me to come back home, but that was a decision I had to make on my own. You couldn't tell that kid nothing cause he thought he was grown. Thought he could whoop this big bad world all on his own. Now at the end of every day, when I lay down to sleep, when that cold pillowcase hits my warm heart cheek, am I at the crossroads? Could my life be done? I crack a smile when I think about my daughter and son. What if my father calls me home? Am I ready to go? The scary part is at the end of every day, I don't know. Am I fighting against flesh? There's intangible things like principalities of men and stuff that can't even be seen. My mind tells me to believe only the things that I can see, but a magician's sleight of hand can seem like the real thing. I ultimately understand that God's will. I know I'm wrong for these thoughts, but still that's the way I feel. How many lies did I tell because my tongue was willing, even though I was being polite and trying to spare someone's feelings? So I end every day just like I often begin. I try to clear the slate and repent for my sins. He left the door open for me to come back home.
If you'd like to be a guest on our show, log on to www.thebelieversvoiceshow.com.
Who knows? You could be a guest on our show.
Until next week, keep on believing.